What's up, everyone? Back to Guillens World. I'm here with Guillens, Ozzy Guillens Sr., smoking some stogies and chilling in beautiful Miami Beach, Florida.
We're having fun. You know, we all together as a family. Finally, we make the 3 kids together with the 3 wife and a girlfriend, and also the 2 real Guillens, Adela and little Ozzy Jr.
It's nice to be in good weather. I didn't realize how dark I look until I'm looking at the camera now.
Darkness.
I've been wanting to get some sun, obviously, because out there in Chicago we haven't seen any. So we've been going to the beach a lot. Hopefully, get on the golf course next week. So we're ready to go.
If anyone was asking, I gotta let you guys know. Check out NyynewsTV. Check out the links for the merchandise. But let's jump right into it, okay? Hot stove, it is jumping. A lot of surprises. If you guys have seen my picks that I've been sharing, I only hit one, the Freddie Freeman one. Everyone else, I think the closest I got to making a prediction was that I predicted Correa to the Central.
Yeah, I mean, we just got the team wrong because I remember I thought I picked Detroit, but there was a lot of things out of left field, whether that was Colorado jumping in and getting someone like Chris Bryant or someone like Carlos Correa's caliber going to the Minnesota Twins. I mean, this is what we all wanted. I mean, we knew that once spring training started, that free agency was going to really, really take off because teams have to fill those spots very, very quickly because they want to get their teams going. And more so the fact that, they're already playing games. So I know that very, very shortly, I follow Carlos Correa on social media. He's already out there in Twins camp. Freddie Freeman's already out there. You'll probably see them in action in about 3 or 4 days. But this is what we wanted to see. I really was looking forward to seeing what teams really think that they can make a push because of the 12-team format, which is a good incentive for teams to spend money. And I'm all for teams spending money, even if it's someone like Colorado that they're probably not going to make any noise. But it gives the fans hope, gives the fans someone to see, and a guy gets paid. I mean, and that's what you really want to see. So I'm happy with those moves.
But one thing about it, I think there's the division is not going to be easier the way it was a couple years ago because now there's some teams got getting better, especially in the division with the White Sox playing. Everything got strong. Everything, to me, I think the division is up to the White Sox to lose. But every team in American League, nationally, everything got better and better, and that's what you want to see. As a fan, that's why you want to see competition. That you want to see some fun. You want to give something to go to the ballpark and enjoy it. And I think this year, some owners did it the right way, or general manager, vice president, whatever, they did it the right way to spend the money. Some guys spend money just to show people, hey, listen, I try to spend money, and we will see how the season pay off.
And you know what? And speaking of that, you have to really see the different approaches. Someone like Chris Bryant. Signs a 7-year deal in Colorado. Carlos Correa went a different route. He says, I'd rather, be one of the highest paid players annually. I think he's 4th. He's making like $34 million a year or 31. I'm not quite sure. But he takes a 3-year deal to Minnesota. Now Minnesota, you add, they got an everyday third baseman in Gio Urshela. You get an everyday player like Gary Sanchez. You get a healthy Byron Buxton. And now, like he was saying, now the Twins are starting to be like, wow, these teams have a really good lineup.
Detroit Tigers.
Plus, the Detroit Tigers are going to get better. The Cleveland's got great pitching. I always tell fans, it's not about you winning the division. Obviously, that's the end goal. But it's how long can you stay competitive and play meaningful games into August?
So looking at it, there's different ways to skin a cat. You can go about building your team different ways. This is something that I've always critiqued because I'll give you an example. The general manager in the Dodgers was supposed to be the guru in picking players with low salaries and building that. And then when he went to somewhere where they had a big paycheck, he just went and signed the best free agent. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. My daughter could have done that.
Traded for Trey Turner,
which is a great move, by the way. But so there's different ways to do it, again, depending on what your budget is. I liked it because as much as we talked about the Reds dismantling, and other teams not doing as much, like the Pirates or potentially the Orioles. Orioles allegedly were in for $300 million for Correa. For Correa, a lot of teams got better, especially in the Central Division. When you look at the history of baseball, again, we have very short-term memory. In the 1980s, there was teams losing 100 games.
Oh, yes.
Okay, there's always been teams losing 100 games. So not everyone's going to be super competitive, but what this 12-team expanded playoff has happened is that a team that's 500 could get into the playoffs.
Correct.
So Colorado's like, if we bring a franchise player, again, you have a franchise player, people are going to come to the stands a lot more to come watch that guy. I think that's the situation.
And, you know, and teams, like you said, maybe Colorado has guys that are
lightning in a bottle.
They think they could take the next step and get better.
The Nationals got
I
better.
really do appreciate, because I know it's easy to say, like, oh, the Dodgers are still missing that non-COVID ring. And I really, really think that bothers them as far as, like, last year they lose out in the NLCS.
Their best signing is going to be, other than Freddie Freeman, is Trevor Bauer coming back.
Right. So which is like signing a free agent, because we didn't see Trevor because of the stuff that's happened with his legal battles. But you sign Freddie Freeman, you put him in the 3-hole. Most likely the Dodgers, unless something crazy happens, they should be in the top two.
What they say about Trevor? They coming back?
We don't know yet.
He's at a just service suspension.
But I think you know me. I'm not tolerate or agree with what he did or whatever he did. That's personal thing. But I think this guy, I think baseball people did a lot of things.
Well, I'm saying it's just a time of him doing. Let me explain. He was on paid leave last year. He hasn't been technically suspended, so he might be suspended 20 to 30 games, is my guess. Once that suspension is done, then he's activated to the roster. He's never really done time like on a suspension list. Last year was just on paid leave, so he got paid to not be around the team. But I think after his 30-game suspension, or they might give him more. I'm saying my guess is 20 to 30 based on Marcell Ozuna.
But that's someone like Trevor Bauer. I'm not saying that I like him or dislike him. I think he's good for the game of baseball. Why?
Oh, absolutely.
Why do I think he's good for the game of baseball? Is because he's very engaging with fans. He gets it, what it is now to be a professional player.
I like that.
He faces the music. He has his own YouTube channel. He doesn't hide from reporters. He gives he tells people what they might not want to hear, but it's just his truth. So I think that by him doing that, I think that's better for the game, because he's really out in the forefront of what's happening. So someone like him being back on that roster, I just think it makes baseball better.
Who's got the biggest pressure, in your opinions, going into this 2022 season?
The teams that always spend, and the teams that maybe let go. I think the Braves have a lot of pressure, because we saw Freddie Freeman's quote saying that it kind of hurt his feelings. That
I understand. I understand.
They didn't let him know.
I'm saying I understand the Braves move.
Yeah.
And I'm going to critique your Freddie Freeman because they've been in negotiations. The Braves just put their foot down and said, you're not going to use this as leverage to go sign somewhere else, because I bet Freddie lost money on that.
Yeah.
Because by Olsen signing, saying you have no other option.
You have no other option.
You have no other option. So I think, I'm going to be honest with you. We saw that team playing better with Freddie. I think that he already had won a championship. I think extending him for a long, long time while you have Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Alvis, I think they saw that they needed more help in the signing of Eddie Rosario. I think that it's a team that didn't think with their hearts and said, you know what, you won.
And
thank you. Let's move on.
Besides that, when the team release you, don't sign you back, whatever it is, you always hard feeling, especially when you spend so many years with the same club, with the same organization. And I went through it with the Chicago White Sox. You leave there like
bittersweet.
Yeah, very, very bad feeling. But in the meanwhile, Freddie go to the winning ball club. He had a chance to repeat him to be a championship. And I think Atlanta Braves always thinking with the brains.
Those are smart
and I play for that organization. I think those guys are very smart. They know what they're doing. I know a lot of people, fans of Freddie, got a bit upset, but they pick up Olsen. Olsen is a good player. Not type that player Freeman have, but
he could potentially be Freddie Freeman.
Not only that, but they also
acquired
not only did they get him, they extended him. So you basically already have a core of Olsen, Albies, Dansby Swanson, Riley, and Acuna. Their team is basically already made.
And they also have the closer. Jansen,
and they add a closer who's been there in many important games. So Atlanta went out and did the right thing that they thought for their franchise. They didn't think with their heart, like you said. They made the move, and barring something crazy, they should be there at the end, even though they are in a gauntlet of a division, they should make the playoffs.
They can still make the playoffs.
They should make the playoffs. Obviously, very, very tough division because the Phillies got Nick Castellanos and they got Kyle Schwarber. They will do damage in the National League. There should be a really good compliment for Bryce Harper. As far as sleeper teams, and I really love what Toronto Blue Jays did. Really love what the Blue Jays did, adding Robbie Ray, adding Chapman. They will be a force to be reckoned with. Great offense. Guerrero lost a lot of weight. He's going to be my early MVP. My early MVP pick is going to be Vlad Guerrero.
Well, Vladdy Guerrero is going to be. I think Vladdy Guerrero is going to be a big time MVP potential, as well as a lot of younger players in the American League. I think the GM that gets the win is the Minnesota Twins, a team that lost 100+ games last year. You know, not a very good roster. They moved Josh Donaldson, who didn't really fit in that team. They move him. They move Garver, the catcher. They bring in a guy like Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela. People making them think, oh, they're going to move Gary because they're not really going to go for it. When they come to see they have enough money to sign Carlos Correa to a short-term deal. Now you look at that team offensively, it's a very set
And isn't
lineup.
that what you guys want to see from a small market team like Minnesota?
Competition.
Basically, the Minnesota Twins just played Jekyll and Hyde, and they hit checkmate against the New York Yankees. I think that makes for baseball better. That means that a team out of nowhere says, we think we are good enough now with the 12-team format. We think we are good enough to get in. Let me pay Carlos Correa $30+ million, put him in the middle of the lineup. I get my everyday players, and I'm ready to go. I think that is great for baseball, and that whatever came out of the collective bargaining agreement, I think it worked out in their favor, meaning that these small market teams are going.
So I want to talk about that. I know a lot of people in Chicago are complaining about we didn't spend. Actually, you did spend. Spending is always the same. It just depends what you buy. I can buy a Maserati, or I can buy 3 Honda Civics,
or 2 Range Rovers.
Like, you can always pick the players. And the White Sox,
you're the one that decides.
The White Sox went heavy on bullpen, and they paid a high price tag for bullpen. Something that everyone always talks about. It's the easiest thing to rebuild. They have a lot of years in the bullpen. It reminds me kind of like what they did after the 06 season with Line Brick. You know, they sent a lot of big name guys.
They got Graveman. They also, people forget that the move for Kimbrel, it's looming.
Yeah.
The fact that he makes $17 million, it looms large. Kudos to the White Sox for them having the highest payroll that they've ever had. So you can't say that they're not spending money. They are spending money, but they're just allocating. Allocating is when they move it around. They're moving it around for 3 or 4 different guys. They signed Larry Garcia to 3-year extension. They get Josh Harrison for $5 million. Will it work out? We don't know. That's what we're here for.
I think the team that has the most pressure is the White Sox.
They have a lot of pressure.
I'm not going to criticize the move by Harrison because I wonder how they're going to use him. Why? You got a good outfield. They're not a Gold Glover guy. They're not a Gold Glovers. I know that. There's a very, very. Hey, that's a budding Ford lady here.
Right.
Then
it's okay.
Then I think the reason is they're not going. But I want to know how they use Harrison when they have. To me, Larry could have covered the second base problem they have in the past. I think Larry's no doubt about it. He can do that job.
Well, let's be honest. The current situation with Larry is that they see him as a backup player. Okay, they see him as a backup player. They don't see him as an everyday player. They went and got Josh.
Well,
Harrison.
isn't that kind of if you're Larry Garcia? Wouldn't you think that though? You're like, I thought I was playing second.
Well, he got a lot of money.
Well, he
because
play every day, but he's played different
positions. But with the Josh Harrison, I don't want to be a hater, but they're trying to catch lightning in a bottle. When you look at his numbers, defensively, everyone thinks a Gold Glover. He's not a Gold Glove defensive second baseman.
And people have also criticized him for getting an everyday second baseman that's 35 years old. This is really have a trickle effect because last year they were trying to go for it. Most people are thinking, oh, we might as well left Madrigal there because I think they made a big mistake on getting Cesar Hernandez because now, obviously, you trade for Kimbrel. And now you have to get it every day second baseman. But if you never trade for Kimbrel, which people don't want,
I have a question. What do you expect? Let's talk about this right now.
You have Nick Wrangler.
What do you expect Josh Harrison's stats to be?
Wow. I say 245 to 250, if maybe
Okay.
it's 5 home runs, 30 something RBI. No stolen bases because he's fast, but he not steal no bases the last couple of years. I got to bring some swagger to the club. Now it's a swagger club. Everybody in the ball club is swagger, but they not produce the way they should be. And I think that's going to help. Also, that's going to help the shortstop TA to be one of the guys next to him.
He's coming off a 279 season with 8 home runs and 141 hits and 505 at bats with a 2.1 WAR. So will he be above that or below that?
Well, he was
remember,
playing with Oakland. I mean,
he's not going to play in the American League.
He's also he was. I think he was playing in Oakland last year.
Yeah, for a few games.
Yeah, so
For a few games.
Washington, then Oakland. He got traded. So majority 90 at bats, 90 games were in Oakland. 90 games were in Washington. 48 of those games were in Oakland.
Okay, so most of his life he's played in the National League. So I expect there to be a decline, but he's also going to be input into a really good offense.
Yep.
So it all depends on how Tony La Russa, which we'll see how Tony La Russa decides to use this guy. Does he hit him second? Does
No.
he hit him left? Does he going to hit
Batting 9.
Exactly. So let's see.
So you're not going to be surprised when Tony hits him second?
Yes, he said, if Tony sees this kid second, with all my respect, the guy made the lineup. Harrison has been a good player in the past, but I think he got better player than him to hit from him, and he got some speed.
And
And he hit second.
So today
I do the shows on TV, and I will criticize Tony for that move because I don't think
right now Michael
remember,
Conforto's still a free
you have
agent
to,
right
we
now.
also yeah he's the last domino to drop.
Yeah, but the funny
We
thing about
also-
it, you have guys can play right field. Two
No.
guys. They have 2 kids, minor league guys with a lot of potential, very high.
Well, they are, which is also something to give credit. They're going to bank on their guys. They want to give.
Of course,
They want to give Andrew Vaughn and Gavin Sheets
I don't see a problem with that.
the opportunity
at all.
to
If they
fail.
played good last year, they're
Because-
not going to count with them. I like those
because
kids.
they Gavin Sheets already killed AAA. There's no where for him to go. Andrew Vaughn did great last year in the time that he played. They want to say, hey, we want to give our guys a chance. Their payroll's already as high as it's going to be. They're not going to go any higher than that. They're saying, let's take a chance. Let's roll the dice. Same rotation. Add Michael Kopech. Let's do it.
I like the fact that the Correa signing, and I like those signings a lot because you're not committed for 10 years. You're not committed for 7 years. No, even next year, if the Twins are like, we're out of it, we don't have a budget, didn't work out, you
Trade
can
him.
move Correa for that money.
Trade him, yeah.
And somebody
will pick him up right
somebody
away.
will pick him up right
It's a short
away.
deal.
It's a short term. Those deals when they start going 7, 8 years. I think from when we keep talking Central, something people don't realize. I think the Yankees have a lot of pressure. That team won 92 games. People pretending like they won 72 games. That's a lot of games won. They won one less game
in that division.
They won one less game than the Chicago White Sox last year. They're coming in. I think that they try to improve their team, not name wise. They improve team wise. We're hearing that Ender Inciarte might play center. Aaron Hicks. They're looking for better defense. They added Rizzo.
They signed Marvin Gonzalez.
They started Marvin Gonzalez. So they're looking for a better team. Again, to them is going to be based on the pitching and what the pitching can do. But we see small signings like Michael Pineda, okay, with the Tigers. The Tigers are being projected to be above 500. They haven't been above 500 in a couple years. So you got the Tigers above 500, the Twins above 500. Everyone knows how well the Guardians pitch. Again, I think that when you're looking at the divisions, the Central Division, it should be the White Sox. Hopefully they get it. I think they get it to the playoffs because it's a new format regardless. But there's a lot of pressure. I think that there's a lot of pressure also comes in the National League East. There's teams are saying out there, but the Marlins might be a 500 team with the signing of Soler, Avi. They have a really good well-balanced offensive team. And right now, I want to ask you guys this. It seems like it's the future of baseball. A lot of what-if pitching staffs out there. Other than the Mets, that's an established staff. Every other pitching staff, and I would say the Dodgers, there's always
Atlanta,
but I'm saying like a what-if, like a prospect. So you look at the Guardians, they got Plesac. You look at the White Sox, they got Cease. You look at the Detroit Tigers, everyone's a prospect.
Yes.
You look at Blue Jays are kind of more established. There's a lot of pitching surprise. I think this year we might see one of those teams, their pitching staffs taking off, and you saying, "Oh my God, these guys are in the race," because you're the Marlins in 2003 when no one knew who Josh Beckett was.
I feel like economically that's the best way to go because they're not going to be throwing their money at a lot of free agents. So they're saying we're going to roll with our guys that we've developed. this is when minor league systems really come into play and say, hey, we're going to use these guys to get us over the hump, and hopefully they do the job for them. But because there's not going to be a lot of proven guys out there.
You not believe? I remember the Yankees, New York Yankees, back in the days. They have a great big league team. They have a very bad minor league system, very bad. Nowadays they change. They have a good big league team, a pretty good minor league system. That's how you combine. But for most of the time,
How important though is I want to ask you this: how important is your minor league system though?
very.
I'm just saying though, if you've won the Atlanta Braves 10 consecutive divisions, dominated their era, did they care what they had in their minor league system?
Well, yeah, because what you just alluded to was Chipper Jones was part of that.
D. Rosa got her. D. Rosa.
Andrew Jones
was part of that.
system.
Javi.
So those guys, Javier Lopez.
So you're trying to say consistently produce,
because if you produce, it's way easier to produce guys than to tell your owner, say, I need 4 free agents.
So you're telling me that it's better. No, but I'm saying that it's better to have consistent guys than to have 3 guys that are good at 1
It's better to have it's better to have a minor league system, a good minor league system, because that produces consistent winning, not just 1 year.
Hey,
what do I mean by that?
You can talk about right now. Look at the team they have from the minor league system. They
the
the
White Sox are
Atlanta
Braves. I have a question for you as a manager. Obviously, you had Jose Fernandez. You didn't have a chance to bring him up. He was very young. I'm saying though, as a manager, how do you deal with the question of this prospect ready to play? I know when you're a player,
it's not up to the manager.
I'm saying, I said when he was a player, he got into it with Ron Schuler. We can look up the back and forth with Magler Ordonez. He says Magler Ordonez needs to be on the team. We saw it. Manny Machado and Hosmer said Tatis needs to be up in the COVID season. It worked out. We saw Miguel Cabrera.
Dontrell.
Miguel Cabrera right now vouched for the first baseman Torgerson, basically saying he's ready for the big leagues, and them saying we're gonna give him the spot. Miguel say I'll be the all-time DH for him to come play. Yeah. When you're as a manager, when you see a player, what are those conversations like? Has there ever been a time when you saw a guy and you said he's ready now, and the team said, oh no, we might not want to push him because it's a year too quick?
That happened twice. That happened with Chris Sale. We just signed him, and I don't know the process. And I said, as soon as signing, I look at all the lefty I happen bullpen.
He's the best.
And I called first time I ever did. Kenny go, hey, can we bring this guy to the big league? And Kenny go, Ozzy, this is a process. This is not I said, I don't know anything about the process. I just want to have the best guy in my lineup. In my roster. Then
I've always said 97 is 97 in Birmingham.
I know, but it just says they need to sign him. They need to.
It's all about manipulation.
They try to. Yeah, wow. I don't know. It does a control about the arbitration
service years.
Service, but when I say this guy, by the way, he was pitching every day. You know, I mean, so many innings in college. Kenny told me, said, you know what? Just wait. I say, well, that guy is better than anything I see in the minor league years. I've been here for 7 years. I don't see any lefty with that kind of stuff. Why we going to waste their bullets in the minor league? Well, a couple months in the big league, we bring him as a reliever. We use it in the right way, not overused. Now look at what Chris Sale will contribute.
And remember, support for Guillens World is brought to you by Manscaped, who's best in the men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers position-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free for worldwide shipping with the code Guillens20 at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's 8 million balls from Florida.
8 million balls fresh with Manscaped. So again, if your team is making moves, if your team is out there, trust the process. I think that sometimes a well-balanced team is better than big names. I think at the end of the day, your goal is to win games. It's not to have the best lineup. We're not trading baseball cards here. Sometimes we get caught up with the names. I think a well-balanced. I also believe Austin is a big believer in this.
Can you also, sorry to interrupt you, can you give, because you've given Manfred a hard time, can you give him props and the owners for having a 162-game season?
Not them, the guy who makes the lineup, the software that makes the schedule.
I'm saying we're going to have 162
games. You got to give them credit.
No canceled games.
No canceled games.
That's great for MLB. Great job.
By the way,
that's their job.
Well, no, but that's their job. No. We
makes our life.
I'm surprised. I criticize Manfred.
Mr. Manfred. Mr. Manfred
finally
pulled
did
it off.
something.
No, he pulled it off.
In play association.
And also, I know people are crying. There's a lot of people crying all the time. They spend money, guys. We saw the Orioles in a $300 million bid. I think Correa didn't want to go lose the A-Rod to the Orioles. But I'm saying I think teams spend. I think there was teams out there that went out and spent.
I not agree with both.
Well,
I don't spend that kind of money with one player.
Hold on. Okay, just because you have a company doesn't mean that you're good at running it.
Right.
They're idiots at running it. They're not very good at. This is where people don't realize this. There's Tampa's model. Okay, they can print it out and put it in a book.
Doesn't mean it works.
And then there could be another team that can grab the same model.
Oh, I understand.
And it won't work. So the Orioles are just not very good at what they do. Okay, they're on their 20th year rebuild. The new word for sucking is rebuild. That's the new marketing word.
Yes.
Back in the day, it was like,
but that leads to leave. Whoever the Orioles are, whoever's running that organization, you got to go and pooch one of the guys that's running Tampa, and grab him, an intern, and say, "You're running my team now. I want you to do what they do."
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, just bring the general manager. I don't know the name. I respect him because it's not a winning percent. It's great. It's great for baseball. Don't copy me the wrong way. The guy was in Tampa, went to Dodgers.
Well, that's why he's dangerous.
And he changed everything.
By the way, but now time out. That's why he's
you got it. No, wait a minute.
He's got money and he's good.
Wait a minute, guys. You have to stay who you are, what you do. Don't try to imitate or do something another organization does. No, you're never going to win like that.
I think it's a budget situation.
That's what I said. Okay, Oakland A's.
They can't
relax. I just watched the movie Moneyball. I hate Moneyball before I even see it because I know it's a bullshit couple of things. I don't like it. But when I see the man, I criticize a lot of him, but he's doing a tremendous job. The general manager, when he say he got a chance to go to another place.
Yeah,
he said no.
I said no. Well, I respect
you respect that. But here's the thing, though. You cannot hate Moneyball. He built
I know.
Hold on. He built that. Hold on.
I know it's a lot
Billy
of being baseball
guy. The movie is based on a couple stories. Billy built that pitching staff.
Meaning
he drafted them. He scouted them. That's the mistake people make. You're not going to get better as an organization if you poach one guy. You got to develop from the minor league system.
That's what I say. I tip my hat to him because all the song it means two players say, okay, well, how we can do this? Billy did not go for the money. Billy's a better man than Manny. That's why I have more respect for him.
And he's doing it again. He's doing it again. And now we know why Bob Melvin decided to go to greener pastures.
And by the way, Oakland was in the playoffs 2 years ago.
And they will
Oakland beat the White Sox.
Can we make a prediction that Oakland is back in contention in 2 years?
Probably.
I love his manager. Why? Because it's an old school, crazy, fun guy.
Literally, they got.
Do you guys
hold on? They drafted Olsen. Just got paid. Oakland can't pay a guy like that because they don't make money. Chapman, all-star third baseman. Marcus Semien making $20 million, $5. They know whoever those scouts are. They know what they're doing.
I think they're gonna. If any time the Oakland Athletics call me, if I'm a general manager, I'm hanging up the phone because they're gonna fleece me. Because they're gonna fleece me because
they know something you don't know.
The moves that they're making right now for Olsen, for all those guys, for those guys, you're gonna see in 2 years and say, "Oh, where did that guy come from? Oh, that guy came in a trade. They did it to the White Sox. They took Semien for Zamarja and all those guys. They took a bunch of guys that they were like names on the Sox, and all of a sudden we're like, wait, what? Wasn't Simeon's on the Sox?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
all-star. So I
remember him.
They're a scary. They're one of the teams that when they call, and again, when I look at this is why I like Oakland, is because they have not gone 10 years being bad. The Pirates, the Orioles, like if you're going more on 10 years, you're going. If I'm the league, I'm like, hey, do you need help? No, do you need help? Do you need help running your ball club? Because even the White Sox, one of the things that I respect about the rebuild, even though they were on the second rebuild, that they didn't take 10 years. They said, hey, we got a plan. And it happened and within the 3-4 years that it happened.
Hey, by the way, that's easy because I know why that rebuild not work because I know the president of the ball club. I know the organization. No, I say great, but pretty good. And I don't think they can handle it. They know they have to be patient in that rebuild. Double rebuild, but they said, you know what, enough is enough. Let's go get it.
They did a great job though. Their team is pretty young, but I'm saying when you're trying to stay consistent, again, people are always thinking about the World Series, but the number one thing that you need to in order to compete for a World Series, you need to have the chance to be in the World Series. Once you're in the playoffs, I'll give you an example. The Red Sox, same roster as last year that I said those are going to lose 100 games. And Alex Crowe always gives me crap for this. Jerry Carambas and Alex Crowe were the only two people in the world that believed that team was good. And they went to the last move they made was on that great team, they got Trevor Story. Still the same lineup that I said was going to lose 100 games. they're back in the race. Why? Because Alex knows that if he gets into the playoffs,
Anything can happen.
anything can happen. So your goal is getting into the playoffs. And that's why I like the extended playoffs. And again, I think the teams that are expected to win the divisions, like the White Sox, have more pressure. Because if now, with the new setup, not only do you have to win the division, you have to win your best record. So that's something you guys were doing last year of like, we only need to win 80, 90 games in order to get in. We don't need to stay high.
I don't know.
Now you have to try to win as many games as possible. And you're going to go into September saying, we're all in. Like, we need to win 100. We can win 110 games. We're winning 110 games. Why? You do not want to play that
You want to
first
avoid
round.
the series
It's right now. It's March Madness. You do not want to beat Kentucky
because
Get knocked out in the first round.
any team, any bad team can beat a really good team.
Correct.
So
and people talk about home field advantage and all that. In my opinion, you never want, if you can skip a series, okay, and save your pitching staff and be able to wait around sitting down and saying, okay, this is how my staff's going to be. You want to do that. You've been in the playoffs. You were in the playoffs, like knowing, like preparing yourself. And then you were in the playoffs in 2008. Like whoever's up is up.
Yeah.
Like you really didn't have time to set up.
That's what
makes
kills us.
makes a big
Makes
difference.
a difference.
That's you know what? Most of the time when you play one playoff series, I think they're gonna keep doing it. I said, why you make like how about a series for 3 games? One game, you just
No more one game though. It's a series. You're gonna have a
go,
series.
Go do it. That's what I like. Go do it. No more one game playoff.
But anyone that critiques it says that it's not better to plan ahead, that it's easier to just go in and like keep going.
No.
You want to be rested.
And you
As
want
a
to
player,
you want to set up your rotation.
You want to set up your rotation. Again,
that's a very.
I'm going to say this right now.
important.
Most important year before we wrap up, we're going to do our next show on this, on guys that I believe are going to have great years. Dylan Cease is actually his first year, second full season, that he'll get more than 25 plus starts, because Oni, who's a hater on a lot of pitchers, at least admitted yesterday that he actually explained it. 32 starts is actually really hard to come by now.
Very hard to come
To
by.
get 32 starts.
I guarantee you, Michael Kopech will make 32 starts.
No chance.
So Adela wants to say hi. You want to say hi, Adela?
Say hi.
It's our little Guillen here. Well, thank you guys. We're here in Florida. We'll see you guys soon from the Guillens world. Talk to you guys. Love you.
We wrap it up with Adela.
Before it hits the front page,